Mr. LaBonge, Mr. Rosendahl, Mr. Kretz, Mr. Zime, Ms. Perry, Hahn, and Smith. Mr. LaBonge.
Hey, Jim, you remember odd and even under Jimmy Carter's administration?
Yes.
Gas was 63 cents. I remember sitting up at 5:30 in the morning. It couldn't be figured that odd and even on a license plate. I think it's difficult, though, when you have a neighborhood. I have a problem with the odd and even. I would rather say on our bills that we receive, you have a statement here. It's the 100 cubic feet. Is that the HFC?
That's the billion units, yes.
Which comes out to like
748 gallons.
40 gallons. What's an average person use?
Typical single-family homeowner uses about 12 HCF a month.
12 HCF. So if I'm at 14, I'm a little high.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I went down from 9. I was at 26 in 2002. It's an old bill that I keep in the desk here. But with that being said here, I would rather see members, if we want to try to educate the public, have a billing system that says exactly what you're doing and work off the bill. If Tom and Bridget LaBonge and Charles and Mary Kate are using too much water, it should say on my bill here, I think, in a way. You have the capability of doing that?
Not right now. We do have a new bill redesign in the process that's going to help you out a lot more. It'll have the tier 1 and tier 2 usage amounts on your bill, which I think will be helpful. What we don't have the ability to do, though, is track compliance on every single customer. So when we came up with, for the emergency ordinance, the watering days, the predominant driver on that was to make something that was easy to communicate and that was fairly easy to enforce.
Right.
And we can enforce a Tuesday, Thursday, or we can enforce the odd and even fairly easy, because you can drive around and see who's not complying with that. But to have everybody have a separate goal and kind of be on the honor system, there's basically no enforcement potential.
Well, I just think it's a way you fine them. I mean, you add an extra percentage if you're higher than what you do. That's something that kind of gets people attention.
We don't have that capacity in the building.
I understand. I'm just thinking that as you go to the future. I just think it's real important. Water is very important. Hey, I want to ask a technical question. Mr. Carter has some questions. Was Owens Lake and Mono Lake, what kind of lakes are they?
They're saline lakes.
They were terminal lakes.
Yes.
So that means the water that went to Owens Lake never left Owens Lake. So Los Angeles was fortunate to figure that out and bring it here. Correct?
I think so, yes.
You think so? Good. You're a good water power man. I want to make that point because I don't want to be totally bad people here. This is important. The airport, the harbor, and water power built this city, and it's important that these decisions be made so we continue that. And we helped build the Hoover Dam, which is going to celebrate its 75th anniversary shortly. I just think the billing is it's difficult in that sense. And what kind of input have you had with the neighborhood councils in your outreach there?
It's been positive for the most part. I think most people are being supportive of the need to conserve water.
There's no
Everybody
question.
would rather use as much water as they want, but people seem to understand the needs.
Right. I think it's just how it goes. I'll push my button for additional questions. Mr. McDaniels, Professor, soils are different throughout the region, correct?
Yes.
So time is an issue as it relates to how the soils are able to saturate the water. If you do a 3-day, 8-minute, is that what Mr. Smith is proposing? Are you proposing, Mr. Smith, on the change? I'm interested in the soils element. And I asked the professor and Mr. McDaniels, who's the head of the water system. Saturation is sometimes which helps flower get to the root system. If you water lightly, it doesn't get as deep. Is that correct, Mr. McDaniels?
Normally what you try to do is take the amount of water that you're going to apply and spread it over short periods of time, as opposed to putting it all on once. Actually, the larger concern is that if you put too much water on at once, you have excessive runoff.
Right.
So spreading it out over smaller periods of time is not inconsistent with good watering.
So Mr. Smith, his idea is a good idea then. Mr. McDaniels?
It's very doable, and the staff will get on it.
I want to hear from the professor from USC.
Yes.
You think so too?
I think so too.
So, but on the issue, they didn't come forward. The great thing about USC, they came forward and volunteered. I remember you were at the first hearing that we had on this, which is great about our universities, whether it's UCLA, Caltech, SC, or all the state colleges. They came forward. The question I wanted to ask then on the root system, then that's not a factor on that. The issue though on the piping system, the Coldwater Canyon pipe, the big break, that had nothing to do with the system. It had just an age riveted pipe, correct, Mr. McDaniels?
That I do not believe that it had anything to do with that. I'll ask.
And if you showed
Professor seems to concur with
a graph of all the pipes in the city, most of the pipes though were west of Vermont Avenue, where soils may be different than the central part of Los Angeles. Is that true?
There's a number of them in the Hollywood area, which also corresponds to high corrosivity of the soil. There was also a pretty good
soils have a tremendous
Valley, similar kind of situation
on this. And then also someone had a statement there that some of the pipes related to the war effort of World War II, that the steel wasn't as strong. Is that true?
That's a theory out there. I haven't had the data to substantiate that.
Well, how about the professor? You look at everything.
You're right. We've seen some steels post-war area which are very weak. They leak actually quite a great deal, but they don't burst. But they leak. They are Matheson and some other steel coming from Germany or from.
I will make a closing statement here. In 2013, it will be the 100th anniversary of the aqueduct. We have to attack our infrastructure, and we have to work on the issues of water. I support DWP absolutely on our water issues, because if we don't have water, we cannot survive. So any public information, any effort that goes to this is good. I just want it to be reasonable, fair. And the only question I had in the opening remarks, Jim, sometimes I don't know what day it is. And so it's important that we make that easier on the people if they have some escape clause. Thank you, Mr. McDaniels. Professor.
Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Tom. It is, Tuesday? That's when you did the flag salute.
What's the date?
The 6th of July. A couple days ago was 4th of July.
And what do you do on leap year if you have this?
We're not going to worry about leap year. We can't even get this settled, let alone leap year. Question.